Greetings, my name is Ramel Smith, and this is my analysis on Mouse Guard Volume 1, Fall 1152. This is a creative work by David Peterson. He is the author and artist for this work. He actually started it when he was in college and has altered it since then. Originally published under Archaea Studios Press, it has since been purchased and republished under Boom Studios Press. It is a hefty novel coming in at 208 pages. It is more of a graphic novel than a compilation, despite it being a compilation, due to the fact that it has chapters and fits more of a novel, but it is a graphic novel. The acts throughout this book are very consistent with what we've learned. The first act is 22 pages, the second act is 97, the third act is 23, but it follows that all up with an epilogue of 7 pages. First act ends on page 37, there's some ads, and then the second act starts on 43. Second act ends on 150, a couple ads, then starts on 155 for act 3, culminating on 178. And again, more ads, and 183 to 190 for act 4. Devil. The story is an ensemble story. It doesn't follow a single protagonist. It follows 3 characters, Saxon, Kinsey, and Liam. They're the big 3, so that most of the story involves them. There are other characters that will be introduced. The goal is to find out who is leaking information about Lockhaven that could destroy it. So these 3 discover that within the first act, or discover that there is a plot. The entire second act is devoted to revealing who and what is after them, or after their home. It is a very broad story in the fact that it encompasses a couple of concepts that you wouldn't think of for such a simple idea of mice. But it is definitely, Act 2 definitely supports the goal of the characters. The story arc is pretty solid. It opens with the 3 heroes learning the plot, and it follows them as they go blow by blow with the usurper, as well as revealing more about the world and where things could go. When the story ends at the end of Act 3, you feel pretty good about it. I mean, at that point, they could have just walked away and I'd have been just fine. But the epilogue, I think, is key because it ties up the story. Similar to the 1980s movies where they would have the character pop up and then it would say what happened to them after that. In this, the epilogue is the cherry on the top. It reveals what happened to the character after the fall of 1152, but then it also sets up where they're going for the winter of 1152. So I'm very excited to read the next book. I don't think the characters really had a solid arc because this feels like the beginning for them. Liam is the one that grew the most. He's less impetuous towards the end. However, he is just getting started in his hero's journey as he meets his mentor towards the end of the book. So I think this is just a setup to a much greater story, and I can't wait to find out what happens next. The transitions throughout the story are all smooth, very clear. You never get lost or confused as to where you're supposed to go with each image. I'll try to display some here on the screen for you, but you never once have to think about where you're supposed to go with the story, and you don't get lost as to where you are in the story. It always tells you what city you're in, what town you're in, which mice you're following, and each mouse is unique in their appearance, so you're not confused as to, is that the same guy? Never happens. But the transitions, according to McLeod's ideas, the story is very tight knit, so it follows more of the movement by movement, or action by action, and subject by subject occasionally. Where when you're following Liam and he's battling a snake, then you are with Liam and that snake. It is not the farmer from across the street, and then maybe there's possibly someone over here in the corner. No, it is you, Liam, and a snake. When they're battling the Black Knights, the Black Axe, it's just you and the Black Axe, and I think that works really well for the story because of the small world they're supposed to be portraying. Because of the large world they're trying to portray with such small creatures, keeping it so tight knit works really well. The flow, as I just mentioned, the flow is fantastic. It moves from scene to scene without any problems. So flow is great. Would I recommend this to a classmate? I would, actually, because I think we as writers get too caught up in trying to be. We get too caught up in how we use our words. So we think we have to detail every single tiny thing, and we don't. Especially in comic books. I think allowing the artist to take our concept and put it on the page, picture's worth 1,000 words. So if he can capture what you want, that's a chapter you don't have to write practically. Would I recommend this to friends? I absolutely would. I think it's really something that everyone should really try to read. Not because it's something like a Tolkien or something like that. No, I think it's the subject matter and what he tries to direct you to and portray is important. The Mouse Guard is more than just a couple of mice battling to save a home. It's not Redwall or something like that. Although I can see where it might have gotten some influence from that, these are practically just people trying not to die. That's really what the whole story is. It is a survival story for little small rodents who happen to fight with swords. It's fantastic. It's full of knowledge. Peterson has definitely expanded this world to new heights. After reading that book, I looked through my collection, and I have a couple of free comic books that have him and some of his other stories. This one is The Labyrinth and a collection of stories. There's another one about the Black Guard, the Black Axe, and there's a lot to it. There's a board game, there's a role-playing game. He's created a world that people can dive into, live in, and that's fantastic. But reading through this stuff, you find that there's a lot of knowledge being left on the page. He's tried to be more than the sum of his parts, which is fantastic. Let's see. Fun fact: he actually started this program or this novel as a college project. He started as a college project with different animals. He had mice and birds and everything, and along the way he figured out that if he just removed everything and just stuck to mice, he would have a more cohesive story. So that is my analytical review of Mouse Guard Volume 1, Fall 1152. Thank you very much.